Those of you who live in small towns, what is the current local controversy all about? Surprisingly enough, there isn't one at the moment. In our 3K pop town, everyone has come together recently because one of our local homeless veterans lost his pet cat. The entire town has banded together to try and find her, and even hated enemies are planning out search parties together. They're still trying to figure out who is black. The village has 249 people. On the census everyone reported white except one person who reported biracial or something, and now the demographics show that the town is 0.7% black. Someone got a 23andMe test. My parents live in a tiny Greek village that has a grand total of 3 families, including my parents, and currently they're trying to rectify the fact that our dog killed our neighbor's chicken. Local McDonald's wants to build a drive-through. Some people are dead against it, but others think it's long overdue as the McDonald's is always crowded. The people against believe it'd ruin the character of the area. I'm not sure where I stand. My family thought that the term Karen being used on Facebook specifically meant the woman named Karen that works at the gas station near me. I had mentioned her once at home and my mom was like, "Oh, everyone hates her on Facebook right now. They all think she's a snitch." That's such a mom thing to do. Sheep. Whether or not to continue allowing a flock of sheep to graze on the town green, with a petting area for lambs. Some think the sheep do a fine job of keeping the grass under control and fertilized. Others want landscaping professionals to do the job. But that's literally what the town green was for. LOL, the mayor has a personal feud with this one guy that has an emotional support pig while living in the village. Housing farm animals are illegal within the village. This is upstate NY with a population of 2,200. Even more silly is this guy lives on the last parcel in the village. Next door is a hayfield. Travel baseball. There is a new organization in town that is absolutely blood-sucking money out of parents of 7-12-year-olds and they have no clue. They just built a new Verizon in town, but someone started a rumor that it was also going to be a Panera Bread. Someone went as far as to mark it on Google Maps as a Panera, even though the building is clearly a single store with Verizon signage. County scale. The council voted to redistrict based on maps that they made themselves. It was vetoed in favor of one made by an outside firm. They overrode it. Gerrymandering to heck and back. Town scale. They are gonna demo the empty Sears building and I'm trying to find how and when so we can go watch it implode or something. Not controversial, just wild. Very local scale. The 102-year-old pillar of the community died and 2 pastors were fighting over who got to preside over the service. Neither could achieve a victory, so they just recited the same prayers after each other. It was weird. Extended family scale. At this funeral I mentioned the guy with the bulldozer who digs the graves and was informed that's my second cousin. I blurted out the only thing I know about him, which is that he owes my parents $400 for double charging them for digging my grandfather's grave. His wife was there. We don't know if she heard me or not. My mom isn't pleased. Amazing. Just amazing. Yards were dug up 2 years ago to lay to the house fiber in preparation for fiber being dug down along the road. Still no fiber along the road. I work in telecom and the crazy thing is that they are giving so much grant money to help companies do this. The company I used to work for is going to be able to install the whole neighborhood for free with grant funding. Customers will just have to pay for services. Delilah from the Love Song Request radio show that's been on for like 30 years lives here and has been trying to convince all the downtown business owners to paint their storefronts pastel. It's a real kerfuffle. Swans in the local rivers lakes have been dying from avian flu and we've all been warned to keep our dogs away from sick or dead swans in case infection spreads to humans. In our small English village, someone has managed to knock over one of the speed limit signs at one end of the road. It's a mystery. Everyone is trying to guess who did it, what happened. Was it intentional? Except it's not a mystery in our house. It was my sister and she hit it when she swerved out of the way of an oncoming car. Narrow country road. We'll keep acting like we are as clueless as everyone else though. I can't believe it worked. We started a thread and made up all these replies and successfully baited you. You'll be receiving your bill from the township in 3-5 business days. Nice work, everyone. We have a Starbucks trying to open in my hometown, but half the city doesn't want it to happen, saying it'll kill the small businesses around it. Literally being built like 2 doors down from a local coffee shop. The town's up in arms about it. A reminder that you can easily crush Starbucks by just not going there and drinking the terrible coffee. We did it as a whole country in Australia. They closed 61 locations at once years ago because we all just said no. A woman on the city council constantly spouts about cleaning up the admittedly horrible drug problem in town and goes on sanctimonious rants on social media about it. Her son is the main dealer in town. He lives in her house. It's not a secret at all, and he gets arrested for crap all the time, and she gets him off the hook every time. Full disclosure, I don't live there anymore thankfully, but most of my family does. Please stop buying drugs from my son. I can't get him to stop selling them. The eccentric millionaire that owned every building in downtown and used them to house his extensive rock collection died like 15 years ago, and they still haven't figured out what to do with all the rocks. Tucson, AZ holds a gem and mineral festival every year. I'm sure you'd find some buyers there. A woman found a dog and tried to find the owner for a day or two. She then took it to a rescue. Owner of dog posts looking for dog, and she let him know the rescue. Owner calls rescue, who now will not return dog due to owner negligence. Woman who found dog is now getting crap on. The city I live in, around 10k residents or so, doesn't allow food trucks to operate outside of things like festivals. There has been a push to change that, and, coincidentally, majority of most vocal people against them are restaurant owners. That's pretty expected, I suppose, but I know some restaurants who have embraced it and gotten their own food trucks to compete and cater venues as an extension of their restaurant. Competition is good for the consumer though. The woman who just got elected mayor owns most of the property downtown, and all the open seats on city council went to her employees. Can't wait to see the corruption in action. One guy started a home addition without getting the required permitting, then threatened to beat up the mayor when confronted about it. The mayor backed down and let him do it. That spread around town, so others have also threatened the mayor to be able to build crap they shouldn't, so now all the hillbilly types in town are just doing whatever they want with their yards and houses, which is starting to cause problems as they dig and cut various things underground, because of course they aren't calling to get surveyed for where all the buried infrastructure is. And to think, all these years I thought the plot of the movie Roadhouse was absurd. Small town with 3,000 inhabitants. Everyone knows each other, everyone knows where everyone works, who is related to whom, and so on. Still, my cousin doesn't know who is the father of her child. The 1989 Denver Broncos. Someone changed the local Facebook page from Small Town Community page to Small Town Anti-Vaxxer group. The ensuing debates and confusion as to how the page moderators had their accounts hacked and who was behind it. I crap you not. The current chief suspect is the moderator of the rival Small Town Community Fasaboom group. Lockdown has given some people too much time on their hands. I'm in a FB group for apartments for a town in Montana, and someone hacked one of the mods' accounts, removed the other mods and changed it to a satire Scientology group. The people were p. A couple promised a lot of cakes and fancy breads to the local festival and didn't deliver. Everyone is mad at them for the last 2 weeks. I love this one. It's just enough for people to collectively be peeved at the couple for the broken promise, but not a big enough deal for it to really warrant any action. It's the perfect situation of everyone knows about it, and also everyone probably shrugs it off within a few minutes of knowing. Well, we are still talking about the police raid made this summer that found 90 kilograms, yes 90 goddamn kilos of unspecified drugs. It was amphetamine. And also that this year's Christmas tree was ugly on the side towards the pizzeria. We are about 1,100 people living here. Small towns literally have to spice things up with dumb stuff like this because nothing else happens. This is a few months old now, and happened right as we moved to town. A local reverend was running for mayor. No one really likes the current mayor, and the reverend died of illness 3 weeks before the election. There was protesting and people going around town, on the Facebook pages, etc, saying to right in the now dead reverend. He got a few thousand votes and was at like 46% of the votes. Don't remember exact percentage, but close to winning. The thing is, if he won, the local bylaws state there is a re-election. The thing is, only those two ran for mayor. So the old mayor would have been written in. Made no sense to me just having moved here, lol. But people are still outraged not enough people went and voted for the reverend who passed away. No frills versus Foodland in small town Ontario. We just got a no frills, and a lot if the older folk RP at the Foodland slander. It's divided friendships over this. The community Facebook page is roaring. The town will never be the same. You'll have like decent answers, and in my small but UK village it is legit just this person being villager of the year for the 7th year in a row. No one likes an overachiever. My city is allegedly the most illuminated and secure of the province, more than 14,000 streetlights, but apparently there is only one security camera system and it rotates all around the city. Besides, they're making tunnels along the train stations, and when it rains it gets totally flooded. My country is the size of a small town. One problem at the moment is that we have these things called roundels. They are kinda like roundabouts, but no one has right of way and there's no lanes. You just drive wherever you want, and people are getting super angry about it even though nothing's bad happened since they opened them. A guy wanted to bury his parents on their parents, slightly rural, totally out of the way, virtually no neighbor's property, but the village said no way. We don't do that here. We're classy. So he went to the state for permission to build a funeral home crematorium instead, and he built a giant mausoleum with both their caskets right on the corner of the property where everyone and their grandma can see it when they drive by. And he has zero plans to actually turn this into a functioning business. It's about half done. No landscaping, and construction vehicles parked all over the place. But gotta hand it to him. People here in my town of 396 still upset that the local Christmas tree was taken down and thrown away with all the lights still on it. My small hometown is currently upset because the Amish don't pick up their horse crap as they drive down Main Street, and their horse and buggy or put bags to put behind the horses do exist. Hope the town wins this one. They are widening the sidewalks on Main Street through town. The plans have been available and has been going through red tape for years. Part of the plan is parallel parking on a small section. It got the okay, and a bunch of people including my aunt went down to complain. It would appear that those people including my aunt have no idea what the plans look like, nor did they provide them at the town hall meeting. They just don't want parallel parking. I looked at what the end result would be and it's an absolute necessity. TLDR, people hate change. The conclusion of my thesis. People hate change. Our mayor posted a bunch of revenge photos of his ex on Reddit. His office and home were raided in August. Charges were announced in November. He finally stepped down from office last week after his plea bargain was denied by the judge, and his trial is set for April. Shortly after his arrest, his current fiancée called a DC radio morning show to defend him on air. I'm sure you can imagine all of the drama. It always amazes me when people ruin their own lives in spectacular fashion. The location of a veterans memorial. There is a lot of construction and the city wants to move the veterans memorial, just a plaque, about 150 feet to a new spot where it will have a little park and sitting area. Half of the vets and some conservative city council members appear and making all sorts of noise. City is confused because it's actually a better memorial, only 150 feet away from the original. City council elections begin to use this as their platform. Facebook fights galore. It was amazing. In my town they want to fix the downtown roads BC. They don't exactly line up at the intersection. The city is planning to realign the roads, but a statue and gazebo will need to be moved over to where the current road is. Madness ensues. Hahaha. Not current, but it needs to be documented in history. The serial catnapper. A couple lost their cat, so they went knocking door to door in our town and came across their cat crying in a random home's front window. They call the police, who arrive and find 50 plus missing cats, along with a freaking graveyard of cats in the garden. Some that had been missing for up to 7 years. It culminated in the catnapper, a 50 plus year old woman, stuffing as many cats as she could in a car and going on a police chase through our little town. Most of the cats were identified and taken home. A very small few went to rescue centers, and the catnapper is currently going under mental health treatment. Apparently she just took home any cat she saw while on a walk for the last 7 years. This happened about a couple years back, but I had to tell the tale. That's so sad. I hope she gets the help she needs, and I'm glad that most people got their kitties back. I live 2 doors down from a pedophile who has been lying about his age on Snapchat to get nudes from middle schoolers. The guy is 22. People just recently started figuring it out after someone's older sister who was the same age as him posted it all over Snapchat, leaking his fake account. It's really messed up. Everyone who knows him is praying he gets a conviction for it. In my town there was an empty building that is being built into a bar and nightclub. Across the street is a church, and the church is trying to stir up everyone by protesting a bar so close to their church building. A while back, some creeper followed a 5-year-old home from school and threatened to murder his family. Last week it happened again to a different kid. The gap in between is long enough that the second kid most certainly wouldn't have remembered the first time off he'd heard about it at all to begin with. The hoe wants to increase rates by $2 a month, but can't articulate what it is they do, and all the stuff we thought they did is actually done by the city. So people care on principle and are attending meetings for their $24 a year. I live on a dead-end street in the woods. There are only 7 houses on our street, so everybody knows everybody, and for the most part, everybody likes everybody with the exception of Frank. Frank fricking sucks. Frank has 3 or 4 crappy vehicles parked on the narrow street in front of his house. Despite having ample room to park the vehicles in his driveway, he blows all of his leaves into the street and leaves them there. He is loud, obnoxious, and rude. He burns crap in a barrel in his backyard, despite a borough ordinance against it, and Frank gets away with everything, because Frank's brother is one of only 5 cops. It sucks. Anyway, one other thing about Frank is he has a royal but ton of feral cats that live on his property. They set up shop under the crappy shed behind Frank's house and just crank out kittens. The cats visit our home and frick with our indoor cats through the windows, are constantly setting off the neighborhood dogs, and leave small animal corpses everywhere. Well, someone finally snapped and had been systemically catching Frank's cats and taking them to the Humane Society. It took him a couple weeks to notice, but Frank has finally noticed that he is short 5 or 6 cats. He has knocked on everyone's door to ask if they have his cats, or if we know who took his cats. Everyone knows exactly who took the cats, but nobody says dong about crap because everyone hates Frank and his fricking cats. Frick you, Frank. Every small town, every neighborhood, has a Frank. All the new infrastructure is centered on sports. No renovations for the library, no place where we could have decent stage for shows and theater, no nature park, only skating rinks and baseball and tennis courts. There is a new roundabout. It's actually really great at relieving the traffic, and the county did a great job at using the last 4 months making YouTube videos, Facebook posts, tweets, using the city itself as well as the police and fire departments to get the word about how it works. It's not much different than a normal roundabout, except 3 of the connecting roads have 2 lanes, one to make an immediate right turn and another to go around to the other right or to the 3rd road. My dad is a fire lieutenant in the town and told me every single cop and firefighter that he talked to all said it would be a nightmare because, in their words, too many people in this town are too stupid to use it. 3 days after it opened, there was a picture posted online of someone using the cobblestone center ring to drive on while going the wrong way. They have averaged an accident every 3 days since it opened in early December. The Facebook posts on the city FB page are the usual moronic bulls. Somehow it's Biden's influence. Nothing was wrong with the intersection to begin with. Tax money was spent idiotically. It's government just trying to control their lives with the usual sane, rational post stating that if you actually read the signs that are well lit, the roundabout isn't an issue. I've not met a single person that has used it that hasn't had a close call yet due to someone either not paying attention or caring. The only store gas station in town was sold to an Indian couple. Now we can't buy our beer and smokes from white people. It's a big deal. Our local utility is finally going to start fluoridating our water, and all the old farts and Karens are out protesting on Nextdoor and Facebook, and we're like WTF, we haven't been fluoridating this whole time? What year is this? If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.